All right, today we are diving deep into a system for content creation that, honestly, is designed to get you off that content treadmill for good. We're talking about a pre-engineered framework built to get the absolute maximum impact from a single idea. So let's get into the technical architecture of what's being called authority logic.
And right off the bat, I want to be clear, this isn't about little tips or tricks. This is about deploying a complete, automated system from the ground up. Think of this as the moment you flip the switch and a really carefully designed architecture goes live to completely change how you share your expertise.
So what problem is this whole thing actually built to solve? Well, this slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got content burnout. We've all been there, right? That feeling you're on a hamster wheel, just churning out content. But on the right, you see authority leverage, a totally different model where one single powerful insight is intelligently amplified. It's a huge shift from just manual labor to a truly engineered solution.
And this right here is the engine that drives that leverage. Authority logic isn't just a concept, it's an engineered system with a very specific job. It takes one piece of your expert knowledge and automatically, and that's the key word, transforms it into a stream of content from multiple channels. The whole goal is maximum output with minimal, and I mean minimal, intervention from you.
Okay, so how does it actually work? The entire architecture is built on two fundamental pieces. First, you've got the stack. Think of this as the tools, the tech you need, kind of like the hardware. And second, you have the flow, which is the scripted process, the actual logic that tells the information where to go. So let's break down the stack first. So this part is all about that foundational layer. These aren't just suggestions. These are the non-negotiable building blocks, the specific technologies that make up the actual architecture of your authority logic system.
Okay, so let's walk through these 5 core components on the diagram. First up is the intake node, which uses the Whisper API for really high-quality voice-to-text. Next, that text goes to the intelligence layer, which is powered by Gemini. That's your brand voice engine. Then the orchestrator, which is kind of the central hub of this whole process, is make.com. From there, your content moves to the distribution bridge handled by the Buffer API. And finally, everything, the content, the data, it all gets stored and analyzed in the Asset Vault, which is your centralized infrastructure.
So now that we have the architecture, the tools, let's move on to the action. This is the scripted logic. This is the precise step-by-step path that your single insight follows as it gets completely transformed by the system. And it all kicks off right here, in the capture phase. All you have to do as the expert is record your thoughts. That's it, just a raw audio signal. That signal hits the intake node, powered by that Whisper API, and bam, it's instantly converted into a clean, super accurate text transcript. No typing, no sending it off to be transcribed, just pure insight capture.
Next up, that transcript moves into the synthesis phase. Now, this is where the intelligence layer, Gemini, plays such a crucial role. It doesn't just summarize the text. No, it analyzes it against your specific brand guidelines to pull out the most valuable, most relevant insights. This is that critical filtering step that finds the gold before we move on. And folks, this is the heart of the entire system. This is the game changer. That single golden insight is now fed into the orchestrator, which then executes a simultaneous 5-way transformation. Seriously, think of it like a single beam of light hitting a prism. One beam goes in and it refracts into 5 distinct, powerful streams of content coming out the other side.
So let's look at what those 5 streams actually are. Path A turns your insight into a long-form LinkedIn article. Path B creates a high-authority answer block, which is perfect for AI search. Path C generates all the copy you need for a technical carousel on social media. Path D fires off a punchy thread for X. And Path E writes a founder insight for your email newsletter. That's 5 completely different assets, all born from that one single audio recording.
Now, automation is powerful, but you know what? Control is absolutely essential. And that's where the deployment gate comes in. Before a single thing goes live, all 5 of those new assets are staged in the distribution bridge. This gives you, the human, a chance for a final review. You can approve, you can tweak, you can reject. You always have the final say before anything gets published.
And the system doesn't just post and forget. That would only be half the job. The final step is this verification loop. As you can see in the diagram, all the performance metrics, likes, shares, comments, get logged right back into the Asset Vault. This is what allows the system to actually learn from the engagement data, making it smarter and more effective over time.
And really, that's the whole process, from start to finish. It all just boils down to this simple, powerful idea, taking your expert voice and using it to build automated authority.
That is the core output of the entire authority logic system.
So, we'll just leave you with this question to think about. What would it actually mean for you, or for your business, if your single greatest insight wasn't just a one-off thing, but was the fuel that could power your authority across every single channel that matters, all automatically?
So that was a pretty high-level schematic of the authority logic system. If you're interested in a much deeper technical dive, or maybe you want to explore implementing this kind of architecture for yourself, you can learn more by visiting Business Goto at businessgoto.ca.